Assalamualaikum. Welcome to Member Spotlight. Today we have with us Syeda Nazifa Nawroj. She is an attorney and would love to share with you what she's up to. Welcome, Syeda.
Walaikum assalam, Kashif. I am very happy to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me, Jazakallah.
Yeah, thank you for joining MCOP. So, would love to hear your story, how you started and where you are today.
I have had a very interesting journey, Alhamdulillah. I was born and raised in Dhaka, Bangladesh. I'm the oldest of three daughters.
Okay.
As I grew up, I soon learned that I needed to be powerful. And I am myself a pacifist, so I do not enjoy conflict. So I realized I needed to learn a constructive way to communicate with people and, if necessary, influence them. So at a very early age, I was fascinated by paperback novels like from authors like John Grisham, who wrote about really powerful attorneys who were able to, with their words, their writing, their communication, big make huge social impact. I found that very inspiring. So
Mhm.
at a very young age, I knew, inshallah, if God wills, I will become an attorney. And I was very privileged to be raised with all the benefits of any other child. And my family is still very global. So growing up in Bangladesh, I had little windows of what life was like in the UK, in the US, in different European countries. So I kind of got to cherry pick
Okay.
where I should go and maybe live and study. And eventually, I decided to come to the United States. I got a full ride to attend Mount Holyoke College, which is an all women's liberal arts college in Western Massachusetts. So
Mhm.
I did my bachelor's in economics and international relations there. And I graduated and went straight to NYU School of Law. I did my Juris Doctor JD degree there. And after I graduated with a JD, my husband also finished his PhD program at the time, and both of us decided we wanted to start our working career in California. So we both up and moved, and we have been in California since. It's been more than 8 years now.
Okay. And you are in the Bay Area.
Yes, we are all in the Silicon Valley broader area, closer to San Jose.
Okay. Sounds good. So, what type of law do you practice?
Yeah, so I practice business law. So my clients are founders, investors, and private companies. I My training as an associate was focused on technology and life sciences industries, so biotech, biopharma, SaaS, software, hardware. Those I would say I have industry specialization in, but now, in my own practice at Empowering Legal Solutions, I advise a large, much broader group or type of businesses. So, right now, my practice has a substantial number of nonprofit and social purpose businesses that I advise.
Okay.
I am the outside general counsel to a number of nonprofits, and I sit on the board of one. I also advise private companies. A lot of them are startups that are looking for help in formation, structuring of equity, and receiving financings. And I also advise mature companies that are looking to make a market exit in mergers and acquisitions or other strategic transactions like Reg A fundraising or things like that. So anything that has to do with the businesses, private businesses, corporate governance,
Mhm.
legal compliance, fundraising, that's what I do.
All right, sounds good. So, if you can share some of these stories from your clients, that how you were able to help them, or the situation that you found them in, and able to ease that pain for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will tell you about some of my favorite clients. One of my favorite nonprofits is called Add Good Foundation.
Mhm.
It has been started by a founder, Chris Johns, who lives in Southern California. He just called me up and said, hey, I have this much of a budget, this much time. Can you set up for me legally a foundation that is ready to work on the first day of launch? We want to receive all the money. We want to do it all with legal compliance. And I have this amount of time and I need everything to be done right the first day. And I was like, okay, great. So in 4 months, we had everything set up. We got all the nonprofit policies in place. We got the 501(c)(3) certification. We added new volunteers to the board and we launched in 4 months. And now they're fully operational. So that is one of my nonprofit clients. One of my other for-profit clients, currently I'm advising a company that is doing a $16 million sell-side M&A market exit. It's a fintech company that is currently entertaining a number of buyers and bidders. So part of what I'm doing for them is I'm advising on how to legally evaluate the term sheet offers that they get for acquisition based on what the founders want to do. So what a lot of what I do there is tax optimization, deal structuring, a lot of term sheet negotiation for them, and
Mhm.
ultimately drafting legal agreements to fit their needs. So that's what I'm doing on my M&A client right now. And then I would say on the financing side, I have a great client that I work with. It's a team of 3 founders across different states in the United States. They are trying to raise project finance to start a renewable infrastructure development corporation that does hybrid solar power on currently unused biogas landfills. So this is like an innovative way of doing what the industry refers to as retail renewable infrastructure.
Mhm.
Wholesale is when you do really large projects, and retail is when you do smaller projects with a specific purpose. Like, for example, if they built like a small hybrid solar plant that could specifically power a GPU data center, which is in high demand right now because of generative AI technology. So this is just a wide variety of the different kinds of clients I work with. I would say it really depends on the client and their needs. A lot of the times, my role is to be a consigliere. Sometimes my clients will come to me and they will not exactly know what they need. They think they need a financing, but their goals are actually saying that they maybe need a restructuring. So part of what I do is actually help them work through what they need. What type of a deal works best for them? What are the feasible options on the table for financing or market exit or fundraising? What are their parameters? And this is where I think in my practice, I have seen um, not a lot of understanding from corporate lawyers when it comes to Sharia compliance. I am not a Sharia expert myself, but I advise a large number of Muslim founders who want to run a halal business and they want to do corporate law and business at the highest levels and compete with the best companies. So they need a lawyer who understands how to operate in the space, but is also empathetic and respectful
Mhm.
towards their cultural values. And I feel like that is where I have found a very comfortable niche for myself. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a Sharia expert. So I will work with other Sharia experts to set up the financing structure or structure they're looking for.
Can you share a little bit about, just out of curiosity, like in the corporate law, what is the Sharia structure?
There is no such thing as a Sharia structure in corporate law right now, right? Corporate law is agnostic, it's secular, and it's driven by the rights. If you are a private company, like a corporation, a typical Delaware C corp, right? Most of the laws that exist right now govern the rights of parties entering into a contract. And if you are a founder or on the board, then
Mhm.
there are laws governing your fiduciary duties to your stockholders. This has nothing to do with religion, right? But as we often find, when founders come to operate within this ecosystem, right, they have certain values that they want to uphold when they're doing business. And it's not just Sharia, there can be other values as well. I have a number of Jewish clients who also want to do business according to their religious principles, and they also have practices that are similar to Sharia law. So it's not a matter of it's not so much a matter of, oh, I understand how to do Sharia. I think it's more a matter of, I understand what your value principles are. I am willing to listen. I'm willing to understand.
Mhm.
And I know enough of corporate law and corporate practices in the US that I'm willing to help you figure out how you want to do business and how you think your business will work best. Because at the end of the day, my responsibility as an attorney
Mhm.
is to advise you to uphold your best interests and the best interests of my client, which is typically the business and not an individual.
Okay. All right. Do you focus on any particular? I know initially, like you mentioned about the companies that you have worked with or different sectors. Any particular industry where you have your interest or a focus on from practice perspective?
Yeah, so I would say for mergers and acquisitions, I would say I am particularly well versed in sell side M&A deals for tech companies,
Mhm.
technology and life sciences companies. That is what my training has been for a large part of my career when I was an associate. That is also what led me to write this book. It's actually for startup founders who are thinking about selling their startup. So this is a very high level overview of what they can expect when they start the journey of selling their company. So I would say if you are thinking about, okay, what is that one thing Saida is really really good at that I should
Mhm.
think of her when it comes, I would say it's definitely when a startup is looking to exit in an M&A and they're thinking of hiring an M&A lawyer to advise them.
Okay. So, how far in advance the founders should start talking to you when they are looking to exit?
That's an excellent question. So I would say there are two stages, right? There is ideation and then there's LOI negotiation, and there are two specific needs there. So sometimes, depending on the existing state of your legal department, you
Mhm.
might need to contact an M&A lawyer or corporate lawyer who does M&A a lot way before you even think about doing an M&A. Because if you have neglected in your legal function, right? If you have not appropriately invested in it in the last few years, you probably need to catch up with your compliance. So if you're in that situation, I would say you should approach an attorney soon. Get an analysis of where your legal function stands and see what they advise on what you might want to get fixed. That could help you get a higher valuation. So that's the idea purpose of ideation. So I would say you consult and then you go from there. And then once you feel like your legal function is fine, there's nothing particular that needs attention there, you have been doing your minimum compliance pretty diligently, then you can probably skip that and then contact a corporate attorney or M&A attorney when you are negotiating a term sheet. So either right before you start accepting offers to be bought or sold, or as a buyer, if you're going to give an offer, before you deliver a term sheet, please reach out to a lawyer. A common misunderstanding I see in the market, I see a lot of people say, hey, look, a LOI is non-binding, right? We call it non-binding. So we say an
Yep.
LOI is non-binding, don't go to a lawyer. Right now, once you have an LOI, take it to a lawyer. Um, my 2 cents is it's non-binding, but especially if you are on the sell side, your exclusivity provision will be binding, right? The buyer will want you to enter into an exclusive agreement with them to negotiate the sale, which means you are not entertaining offers from any other potential buyers, right? If that is a decision that you're facing, then your LOI is actually way more consequential than you think it is, even if the rest of it is non binding. So you should talk to an attorney at a very minimum, figure out um, whether the offer is actually good for you. And a lot of the items in an LOI are financial, and a lawyer can actually still help you figure out legal implications and risks that might go with signing an LOI. So I would say that's the latest. That would be my advice. Like the latest time you reach out to an M&A lawyer is before you sign the LOI.
All right, sounds good. And I was going to bring it up, and you showed your book. So you are an author, a published author. And so tell us a little bit more about your book and who should read it and where people can find it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sorry, I jumped the gun on the book.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I was very excited to show it, so I jumped the gun. It's available on Amazon. It's called Sell Your Startup: A Founder's Guide to Navigate and Win at M&A. And the ideal reader for this book is a startup founder who has not done a market exit before. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what the key terms are going to be. And the goal of the book is to essentially just give you a very high level bird's eye view of the entire process, start to finish. So the chapter 3 of the book talks about the overall, chapter 2 talks about the overall process. Chapter 3 talks about how you can start preparing a few years ahead of time. And then chapter 4 onwards just tells you, takes you step by step through the process of selling your company and flags for you what the consequential decisions are. I don't go into the legal. I don't go into a merger agreement. I don't try to explain every single line that a lawyer might put in your agreement. You should absolutely hire a lawyer. The book is actually written for a founder so that a founder can decide for themselves which decisions are important for them, which are less important for them, and they go into the process more informed. Yeah.
Okay, all right. No, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And last question is we are over time right now. Wanted to ask you, where do you see yourself in your firm in the next 2 to 3 years?
Oh, that's such an exciting question. I see myself doing more of what I'm doing right now. I loved making the transition from being an associate at a big law firm and prestigious law firms like DLA Piper and Fenwick, and now having my own practice. I feel like I have invested a lot of time and effort building a really powerful set of wings.
Mhm.
And now that I have my own practice, I feel like I'm free to fly. So I am still exploring how powerful my wings actually are. And every day I'm more pleasantly surprised about how much I'm able to contribute, how much I am able to help people.
Mhm.
And I think in the next 2 to 3 years, the goal is to just make my practice better for my clients, better problem solve for my clients that do not find help elsewhere or understanding elsewhere, to be a safe and empathetic place for them to come, get trusted advice. Um, and I myself am an immigrant, I'm a Muslim woman of color, I'm a mother. These are all identities that are traditionally disadvantaged in corporate America, right? So my firm is a place where I celebrate that. And a lot of my and I empathize with my clients and I celebrate them too. So it's a place where if you are looking to use entrepreneurship as a means to build wealth, then you will find friends in my firm and in our community. And my goal over the next 2 to 3 years is to find more like-minded people and explore ways in which I can help them. And joining MCOB was one of those big steps. And I'm looking forward to being more involved in the community.
Thank you for being part of this journey and looking forward to seeing your growth over the years. Any last minute advice that you would like to give to fellow? You are an entrepreneur right now. You are running your own business. So, any last minute, any advice that you would give to fellow entrepreneurs, and especially I
Um,
would also say women.
yeah, exactly. So just generally fellow entrepreneurs, anyone, I would say get very comfortable with rejection and build a very positive relationship with the word no. The word no is your friend. As an entrepreneur, if you can learn to say no lovingly and hear and receive no lovingly, then your business is going to grow much faster than you can imagine. Because if you can get really comfortable with this, you will find the person who will invest in your company, right? If you get through enough no's, you will find that you have practiced the perfect pitch after you have pitched enough times that it's now really good, right?
Mhm.
So being an entrepreneur is like being really okay with rejection, because at the end of the day, Whether you're succeeding or not is just up to you and no one else.
Mhm.
And you need your own internal compass to be strong, to guide you, and direct you, and not let others just sway you and influence you as you go on your journey. So I think entrepreneurs who are very comfortable with the word no tend to succeed really well. And that would be my one tip.
All right. Thank you for sharing the wisdom. Really appreciate you and being part of MCOP. Thanks again, Saida. Hopefully, we are gonna share this with all of our members and also other people. And so, inshallah, looking forward to seeing you grow and grow your company, grow your practice.
All
Thank you
right.
again. Assalamualaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you very much.
Thank you.